The world of 2142 finds two major coalitions facing each other. We have an ice age that's been forming over the last few decades, and the ice is creeping further south. Both Russia and Europe find that the only place they can go is south. Russia formed the Pan-Asian coalition. They can't go too far south because there are other regions there that have a lot of people in them. So the only place they can go is through Europe into Africa. The Europeans also are forming a coalition called the European Union. They mean to stop the Russians and take Africa for themselves so that they can live through the long winter that's coming. 2142 is founded on the Battlefield 2 engine. That's how we're actually able to get it out as quickly as we can. However, we have added quite a few bells and whistles on the graphical department. So you're going to see things like alpha blend on our vegetation. You'll see bloom in the world. The world itself is going to look completely different. You're not going to recognize it as a Battlefield level because of the lighting effects, environmental mapping, objects. It comes to life. When we started with 2142, it felt the challenge was to give people a game that felt completely of its own. And we've done that through a lot of different ways. One is through visuals, a lot of new graphical bells and whistles, and the other is through gameplay, a lot more gameplay. As examples of that, we have things like, two variants of the tanks. So the EU have this large, heavy tank, reminiscent, if you will, of a Tiger tank, whereas the Pac forces have a hover tank. Both of them handle quite differently.
In the Battlefield franchise, generically, there haven't been a lot of differences between the two sides, and it's kind of part of a gameplay philosophy that we have, but in an artistic sense, in 2142, there is actually some pretty pronounced differences between the style in which they're built.
The basic differences when you look at weapons and vehicles is that the EU side has a more angular, sharp corners and more boxy feel to them, more stealthy shapes and forms, while the Pac side has more curves, rounder forms and so on. And the Pac have a slightly more advanced technology. That's why they have the hover tank, for example. So those things are we try to build those into the Pac side as well.
As we've been developing each of our vehicles, we've been very aware of some of the imbalances that people have discussed in some of the previous Battlefield titles. And our goal has always been to address that as we move forward. So one of the things you're going to see is things like active defense, which gives everyone a chance to survive that first contact with a gunship and bug out. So it's the wise gunship pilot who can try to stay undetected long enough to be effective.
In BF2142, we combined the jet and the helicopter class into one kind of air attack vehicle that doesn't do so much bombing or large area destruction. It's more of the role of helicopter, air-to-ground, anti-vehicle kind of role in the game. But you can still dogfight one another better than two helicopters having this strange ballet in the air.
You have things like for the infantry forces, you have motion mines. So as a vehicle comes into its range, this mine will activate and pop up. For the observant vehicle drivers, they can slam on the brakes and hopefully back away out of the detection range. Others won't be so lucky, and as they blow by it, the mines will actually track to them, chase them.
When designing the weapons for 2142, we got inspiration from different stuff. I mean, the guns from today, guns from other games, and we just tried to combine them and get a look that looks realistic, but yet futuristic.
One of the big reasons we stuck with bullets and not went with lasers or ray guns is you get a better gaming experience. You know, when my gun kicks and it has recoil and I can feel the gun firing in my hands, you know, it feels much more alive. It makes the game feel better. It makes it more fun than pew pew, I win.
One of my favorite weapons right now is the EU rifle rocket. Now this thing is basically standard thump rocket when it's not zoomed, but when you zoom in, it actually sets the detonation range, and then you can use the mouse wheel to increase or decrease where it will detonate. So if there's somebody hiding behind a wall, you can actually set the target on the wall, increment it by a couple of meters, and fire, and do these airburst effects, which is really sweet.
Yeah, one new thing in the Battlefield 2142 is the dog tags. When you come up to an opponent and you knife him, you actually get your opponent's dog tag.
There will be a small visual representation on the screen that you actually took his dog tag with his name on. And that will then be possible to follow up on the leaderboards. You can see on the leaderboards all the guys you have dog tagged basically, so you can sort them out and see how many you have. So it's proven to be a very good thing.
You always like send out an email to everyone so everyone knows you got that guy's dog tag, or you probably got him twice or 3 times, so you can really spam that guy.
One of our playtesters is really into the dog tags, and you'll find him running at you with a knife in every situation, and he's got a list of people going, and his goal before the end of the project is to get all of the dog tags of all the devs. Well, he's got mine.
Well, when you're using the active camo, you're invisible, but you're not completely invisible. It's sort of like a blurry distortion effect, so you can actually see it, and you still see the shadow from that character, but you're more or less stealth while running around.
The first time you pop it on, you forget that your shadow's still there, and you're like, guy still shot me. And then you pop it on in a shadow, and the guy walks right past him, and you pull out your knife, and you get its dog tag, and you're like, yeah, that was a cool moment, you know.
As Battlefield has always had, it's rock, paper, scissors. There's always a pro and a con. So the gun drones and the recon drones, while they're very effective, also are pretty good at, they're noisy, they're very visible because they float above you, they're prone to EMP, they deactivate when EMP'd. So while they bring you a benefit, it's the smart squad leader and the smart squad that will use them most effectively.
So we've gone with 4 classes in 2142. We've taken a couple of the classes that maybe were a little weak or weren't as much fun in BF2 and put them together and come up with something that I think is really solid. So we've combined anti-tank and engineer. So you're both the guy who takes out the vehicles and the guy who drives the vehicle. You know, and we've taken the medic and the assault and put them together and formed stronger classes. So we've got a recon, which is sniper and special ops. And you've got assault, which is assault and medical abilities. You've got engineer, who blows up vehicles and drives vehicles. And you've got support, who lays down a lot of fire, either with his machine gun or he unlocks the shotgun. And he's also got the ammo kit.
So we introduced squads in Battlefield 2, and it was quite a big success. And we always follow the maxim of we want to encourage gameplay, but we never want to force it. So what we've done with 2142 is take the squads up a little bit more. So as you've already heard about the persistence, I'm sure, you have career points now as you go on. And if you're a member of a squad and you help your squad mates, you actually get career points rather than just score. So you can actually increase your rank faster and go up faster if you're in a squad. You can also, if you're a member of a squad, get field upgrades. Now what these are is on top of your rank. So you get a rank, let's say you're rank 3. You're in a squad, you do things, you follow the squad leader's orders. He'll set an order. If you go and do things within that order, you help your other squad members, you increase the field grade chance of going off. There's a bar that will tell you how close you are to getting a field upgrade. Once your squad gets a field upgrade, you actually have temporary access to unlocks 1 level above yours. And these are cumulative, so as long as you're playing on that server, with that squad being very successful, you'll actually be able to, it's a taster, if you will, of what's to come, and you can try them out and then decide, okay, I want to go up this rank, I want to do this.
So in Battlefield 2 you had 1 per unlock per kit. We expand that up to 40 different unlocks, which are spread out on all the kits, and it's not only 1 weapon or thing, it's also small items that's going to help you on the battlefield. So the diversity is that you never know what your opponent's going to have. He's going to have a counter measure for whatever you brought into the field, or are you going to have the upper hand? And it's not all. It's not just physical items. It's also abilities. Some of them are kit specific, and some of them are player specific. So, if you unlock a special player specific ability, you will have it, whatever kit you pick. It will still be brought into the field.
One of the other exciting new gameplay features we have is the networked battlefield. In a nutshell, this allows squad members to spot anybody and relay that information to their other squad mates. What that means in practical use is as you're running through the battlefield and you're running around, you'll see icons in the world. And those icons are targets, opponents that your teammates have seen. You no longer have to just say, enemy spotted, or I've seen somebody. And if you move your target reticle over that icon, you'll query it and you'll get data from your squad mates' information based on that. So it takes the squad gameplay, which was introduced with Battlefield 2, to whole new levels. And the cooperation that you see now with playtests has been incredible. We're introducing Titan mode with 2142, a new game mode, which is something that the fans have really wanted. So with the whole story of everyone evacuating, we've introduced these things we call Titans, which are these huge airborne vehicles. And so with our Titan mode, those are your target. You have to destroy them, either from the ground or by dropping their defenses, boarding them, and destroying them from within.
Here we've introduced a large flying battleship in the sky, like a large carrier. And the aim of this game mode is to go up there and blow it up.
When we were developing Titan mode, we had to ask ourselves, how are people going to get up to the Titan and attack it? So what we did was we designed the assault pod. We took our APCs, these assault personnel carriers, and we gave them pods which you could launch from.
So one of the things you need to watch out for is while you're actually attacking your enemy's Titan, they're trying to do the same thing to you. So they're fighting for the missile silos on the ground that you're fighting for, and they're also fighting to get on board your Titan. So at some point in the game, both of your shields could be down, and so you're fighting to defend and attack and fight the missile silos on the ground. So there's much more variety than you would have had in a Conquest.
One of the things we noticed, though, is it completely changes the Titan gameplay. So people will use these APCs not just on the Titan, but to maneuver around the map. So you have guys driving their APC up to a missile silo, and then they'll all launch out of it. So you have these 6 assault pods raining down. They're landing on your FAV. They're landing, 2 of them on your tank and disabling it, landing around, and then they come attacking you out of them. One of the reasons we can't have the assault pods on our Conquest map, but that's the assault pod in a nutshell.
So how do you take down a Titan? When you get on board, there's a series of consoles that control the big reactor core inside there. You need to go inside and destroy each of these 4 consoles, which then gets you access to the actual core. You blow the core, and then there's a 20-second detonation sequence. In that time, you have to actually run off the Titan. If you do manage to do that, we're going to give you like a special pin or reward for doing so. So that's how you would destroy an enemy's Titan.
Warning. Reactor core destroyed. All personnel abandon ship.
Titan mode is our pride and joy, and we've spent almost the entire development time refining it. But we will be shipping with Conquest mode, which is a tried and true game mode, and something that everyone who's played Battlefield recognizes. We're not changing it from its core format. We actually tried it. We tried for a few months to see how could we tweak Conquest mode to make it pretty much at where it's going to be, because it's the best gameplay. It delivers the best.
So the Titan requires quite a lot of space to move around in to make it actually be make it worthwhile. So if we're playing it on like Stryker Karkan, for instance, if we're going back to BF2, there wouldn't really be enough space for it to move around in. So the Titan mode maps are much larger, more like, let's say, a Gulf of Oman size, if you're familiar with Battlefield 2. So we have 5 maps that support Titans mode right now, which are the larger vehicle-based maps. These are also available in Conquest.
With 2142, we're actually going to have more time and more eyes focused on releasing a quality product. We have got 60 testers in the UK. We have a closed beta of 2,500 testers, and then we're planning an open beta, which will be thousands of people playing the game, all with the goal that when we release the product, it will be the most polished in the franchise.
We're playtesting every day, and we concentrate on a single weapon. So I'll put a new assault rifle in, and I'll just play with it, and that'll be my task. And I'll see, is this too powerful? Is it better at long range or close range?
Will 2142 ever see a console? I don't know. If enough people are asking for it, and if the forums are alive, anything can happen.